This is not part of my plan, but I read something very interesting today about Lithuanian. So we're gonna learn our language basics in Lithuanian. Went down a little bit of a rabbit hole as to why Celtic doesn't have a Proto-Indo-European root. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. Dunno. Then I came across a quote that somebody sometime somewhere said, try saying that 5 times fast, that if you want to hear Proto-Indo-European or the best approximation of it, then you need to speak to a Lithuanian peasant. I have no idea why they came up with this, but I thought, you know what? I would like to hear some Proto-Indo-European, so let's go for it. Remember how I was wearing the orange lipstick and I was like, well, my hygienist is really not going to forgive me for this. Well, now I'm wearing purpley lipstick, so I'm sure my hygienist approves. A bit more Tisha Adams, doesn't really matter. It also reminds me a bit of a friend I had who moved back to Lithuania, who was really, really cool and a little bit punky. Hello is labas. 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 I think I'm going to remember that as labal, like my lips, my labas, labas. You're saying hello with your labas. Does that work? It kind of makes sense in my head. I also don't know why it has to be a Lithuanian peasant. Is there some sort of accent thing that I'm not understanding? Surely just anyone Lithuanian will do. Do you feel Proto-Indo-European yet? Next up, please, is prasho. 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 I like that it begins with a P because that helps, but it sounds like it's pressure. Pressure. Prasho. Prasho. I think maybe that will work because I'm under pressure to remember pressure. It's actually quite good. Thank you is acha, and they've already given me effectively a memory aid for this because apparently people think it sounds like achoo. So you go, thank you because you've sneezed. Acha, acha, pressure, prasho, acha, please and thank you. Yes is tape, and this is a little bit tricky. I can't automatically make a bridge. Tape, tape, tape. I'm agreeing to something, I'm taping myself to it. Yeah, yes, tape, tape, tape. I'm not convinced that's gonna stick. Tape. Actually, tape you up on that. Take you up on that. Tape. No is nat, which is easy because I've just got nat. Nah, don't want to do that. Nah, I'll tape you up on that or nah, don't want to do it. From a quick Google, there aren't a load of pronouns. So we're looking at I, you, he, she. There's also a few different theys and so on, but that's pretty standard kind of Germanic area stuff. I should also mention that saying hello, we're looking at the informals because that's what we always do. But from the looks of it, there's formal as well if you want to go down this route further. I is ash, and I've got kind of two ways of thinking about this. First up is ash it pertains to me, which doesn't really work, it's a bit convoluted. Or a little bit more morbid, ashes to ashes, dust to dust, we all get buried eventually. I don't know that fully works either. We'll see. You is tu. It's very, very similar to the Spanish and all the others. Tu, tu, tu. But we need to just make sure that the accent's all right, so we need to not fall into the trap of tu. Ash, tu. Again, proviso, that is informal. He or she, yes or ye. Ye kind of sounds like she, but then she kind of sounds like he. His and hers. His is yis, his yis, his yis. She, she. Sounds like a she-we. It might stick it though. Yis, his, he. Ye, she-we. I love this video. They've actually done 0 to 10. Thank you. 0 is nullis, which is null. Nullis is null. Nullis, that'll work. 1 is viennas, which is a little bit tricky. It sounds a little bit like wine. You've got a glass of wine. Wein, viennas, viennas. I've got me some nas wine. Viennas. 2 is so much easier. It's de, which is basically French. De. Viennas. De. That's strange. I wonder about the etymology behind that, but we're going for basics here. Again, 3 is tris, which is very much like tres. And I can't remember any Italian right now. Tris. Tris. 3 trees. Nullis, viennas, du, tris. See, that wasn't hard because I've got some foundation on the du and the tris, and the null is just null. I can hear I'm not getting this quite right, so you're going to have to watch the source video. But 4 is ketere, ketere, ketere. It's like she's swallowing the last bit and I can't quite get it. That also sounds a lot like the Latin quattro type thing, so that's right, ketere, apart from the fact that I can't do the last bit. 5 is penke, which isn't quite the same as a source, but pen, like pentagon, which is 5 sides, penke, and ketere. Still not getting it quite right. 6 is sheshi, which again is not outside the realm of memory. Ses. I guess it's a little bit like when you get sep, then it's 7. Sheshi, sheshi. Because she's swallowing it at the end. It's a bit hard to do. I'm not sure I'm going to remember that. It sounds like 6. Shesh. I might remember that. 7 is septene, which I'm making it up because it's a heptagon, not a septagon. But I feel like sep as 7 is fine in my head. Septene. Like, I have no problem with that. There'll be something. I'm sure there'll be something. I back myself enough that there'll be something. It's literally the Latin, isn't it? 7, 8, 9, 10. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, yeah, Spanish. 8 is ashtone, which is a little bit trickier. Ocho, ashto, ashto, ocho, ashto. Kind of along the same lines. Ashtone. Not convinced I'm going to remember it, but it's close enough that I should remember it. Got a good chance. 9 is devinit. I feel like it's ringing a slight bell, but now it could just be like the placebo effect. Devinit. Development. kind of feels like it's got a G in it, which is kind of like a 9. Does that make any sense? I don't think it's making sense, but it's also making sense in my head. So maybe my brain is just ultra open to ideas right now. Devenir. I get it right. Did it like 10 seconds ago. Hey, I got it right. Devenir. Development, because you're about to deviate towards 10. Devenir. I can't remember where it is anymore. It's been 15 seconds. 10 is dashimt, and this is why I've got my dachshund who's just shaking his head at me because he's like, you're just a bit of an idiot, really, aren't you? It doesn't fully make sense. And I've already proved it's not going in my head. It's fine. We've got development to the dachshund, dashimt, devenir. Okay, I remember the last two. And nullis, that was good. I appreciate nullis. And something with a wine. Veni. Let's not prove to you how little I've learnt. Slightly maverick one for what we used to do as Happy New Year, because I feel like where we are, we shouldn't really be saying Happy New Year. So I figure what we would do is look at an important states day in Lithuania. Sadly, there's quite a lot of states days and I'm not familiar enough with the culture to be able to say, that's the one to choose. I came across quite a sweet little phrase while going down the rabbit hole of Happy National Day, and it's Happy Birthday Lithuania. However, I'm not convinced that the video I found that says Happy Birthday in Lithuanian, which you would then add the Lithuania bit to the end of, is a fair representation, because it sounds like the accent is not Lithuanian, but I could be casting aspersions. So you're gonna have to come with my estimate of how it is pronounced, which is probably wrong. But at least you've come down the rabbit hole with me. You're welcome. So Gimta Dzieniu Lietuva. And yes, I have pronounced that like 50 million times at this point. So Gimta Dzieniu Lietuva. And that literally means Happy Birthday Lithuania. Hopefully. The amount of times I've repeated that, there's a possibility it may stay in my brain, but it's probably going to be one of the things that's just like swept out immediately when I close my eyes. Who knows? The way you say bye is viso. Bye, viso, visit over. Viso, visit over. It was both a bit easier and a bit harder than I was expecting, because my Lithuanian friend was like, it's one of the hardest languages to learn. But I recently went down another rabbit hole of what is the actual hardest language to learn, and the verdict was there isn't really a language that is the hardest to learn. It just depends on where you're starting from and where you're going. So that video I watched did say that Danish was maybe a little bit hard because some of the vowels just kind of overlap, so you don't really know what you're aiming for. Children who are learning it for the first time maybe have a slightly harder time with Danish, but like only marginally. Anyway, I hope you feel like you've really experienced Proto-Indo-European through a modern lens. You're welcome. Have a lovely week. See you next time. Viso!